Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Year 2 registration information session. We are very excited to have you with us. Our goal with this presentation is to better prepare you for your upcoming registration. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Kyle Watson. My portfolio includes Year 2 advising, transfer student recruitment, support for our Indigenous students and their initiatives, academic advising support for HEAT athletes within engineering, as well as electrical program advising and program assistance. I have recently joined the School of Engineering from previously working in UBC's enrollment services. I'm going to be temporarily filling in from Tamara, who you will meet in a moment. Joining me tonight are Tamara Wenninger and Marie Reed. Marie, why don't you introduce yourself?
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. So hi, everyone. I'm Marie Reed. I'm one of the engineering advisors. My pronouns are she, her. A little bit about myself. I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree from UBC in 2013. And after graduation, I worked for a company in Salmon Arm designing sawmill and planer mill equipment before returning to the UBC Okanagan campus to complete a Master's of Applied Science in Mechanical Engineering. And it was during my master's that I became involved in engineering outreach, which led to the position I'm in today. As an engineering academic advisor, my role is to support our incoming students and our first year students, as well as our underrepresented groups. So now I will pass it over to Tamara.
Thanks, Marie. Welcome, everyone. Excited to have you on this webinar today. Hopefully you learn a little bit more about registration and UBC in itself. As Kyle and Marie had mentioned, I'm another academic advisor within the School of Engineering primarily, and I am going on maternity leave this summer. So Kyle is dutifully stepping into that spot, and I'm here to support our Year 2 students. So I'll see you for a little bit now, and then hopefully see you next summer in the next coming couple years that we have together. And I'll kick it back to Kyle to start our presentation.
Thank you, Tamara and Marie. Before we dive in, I would like to let everyone know that this session will be recorded and shared with you at a later time through email for you to access for your own purposes. Anyone who isn't joining will also be able to access as well. I would like to acknowledge that UBC Okanagan is situated in the territory of the Silk Okanagan Nation and their peoples. I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of the land from which you are joining us today, near and far. In this session, we will be covering several different topics related to second year registration, including registration steps, resources, transfer credits, and second year placement process. We will be referencing various links throughout the presentation. These links will be provided to you via the chat function and as well emailed to you after the presentation. Feel free to follow along and be copying links out of the chat as we go. After the presentation, we will have time for some questions. And to facilitate this discussion, we'll be using the Q&A function from within this webinar. You can be asking questions throughout the presentation or waiting to do so at the end. To pose a question, simply select the Q&A function, submit your question from there. You can do it privately or through your own identification. And we'll do our best to answer all the questions. We are going to be answering them at the end of the session though. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to the Engineering Academic Services team. We are here to provide a variety of support, including course registration, campus resources, degree planning, minor and option planning, international exchange opportunities, pet meditation advice, and much more. How can I contact an engineering academic advisor? There are many ways that a student can contact an engineering academic advisor. At this time, our office offers support via email, virtual drop-in advising, and virtual advising appointments. We recommend that if you have questions related to registration, to book an appointment with an advisor early, as appointments fill up quickly, especially during the registration season. Before your registration date arrives, we strongly recommend you review the School of Engineering Undergraduate Academic Advising page. This web link is going to be provided in the chat, soeadvising.ok.ubc.ca. Specifically on this page, please review the registration, the advising sheets, and the course planning tabs. You can see them located on the screenshot here. For more information on the required second-year courses you will be registering in, this is a great spot to start your preparation ahead of your registration time. On the advising sheets page, you will have access to all of the advising sheets. Specifically, you're going to want to pay attention to the first and third year advising sheet. To locate the list of first and third year advising engineering courses you should be registering in for each term. This document also includes the course prerequisites and co-requisites. And please refer to these advising sheets to view all the second year required engineering courses. On this slide, you can see a snapshot of the second year engineering courses. This screenshot is actually pulled from the first to third year advising sheet. It shows the required second year engineering courses for term 1 and term 2 for the 2021 winter session. Students will register for all second year courses individually. Your courses will vary depending on the specialization that you have chosen. Courses that are required by a specific specialization, will have the specialization listed beside it. For example, if you take a look at APSC 261, you will see in term 2, it's only recommended for civil engineering students. If you take a look at APSC 246, you can see this is offered in term 1 here. There is no specialization beside it, and therefore all second year engineering students will take it. You'll also see here in the red font, those are the prerequisite courses required in order to be able to register for APSC 246 in term 1. Now that you know which courses you need to take, I'll provide you with an overview on how to search for your individual courses from within your Student Service Center. First step will be logging into your Student Service Center. The best way to do that is from the main Student Services webpage. On the right-hand side, you'll see a login dropdown to access many of the logins you'll be using throughout the year. For this purpose, you'll be selecting Student Service Center to log in using your CWL account info. Once you've signed into your Student Service Center, you can click on Course Schedule on the home page, or you can go to the Registration tab and click Course Schedule. Also located on the home page is a Need Help section of resources that includes frequently asked questions, video tutorials, tech support. These are very helpful during the stressful time of registration prior to or throughout. Once you have selected your course schedule, you'll want to ensure that your campus and session are correct. This would be in reference to the intended courses you're registering in. For your upcoming registration, you are going to be selecting the Okanagan campus and the 2021 winter session. Now you can start browsing courses offered and creating a work list. A work list is a way to view and save the courses that you would like to register in. This makes it easier for you on your upcoming registration day. To create a new work list, click on the new work list and name your work list. Work lists are like a wish list. You aren't going to be registered in the course. It's simply giving you an opportunity to help organize the courses you hope to get into and take a look at what the timetable might look like in that arrangement. We recommend creating multiple work lists before your registration date and time opens, and it's always helpful to have backups. You never know. It's important to note that only first-year engineering students register in a standard timetable. As a second-year engineering student, you will need to register for all your courses individually. To search for second-year engineering courses, you can do so by clicking on the Search tab and then selecting courses. From the course search page, you can type in APSC into the subject area. Then you can also type in 2 with the asterisk. This is a nice little trick to show all second-year level courses within APSC. If you're looking for a specific course number, you can do so by entering that in. For example, APSC 246, you would type in the full course number and then click search in the bottom right corner of the screen. If you selected APSC for the subject area and used that number 2 with an asterisk in the course number, this would appear on your screen showing all second-tier level courses within applied science. Two important things to note on this page that you definitely want to pay attention to. The first of which is the mode of delivery. You notice on this section here, mode of delivery is showing in person for these courses. All courses will be delivered in person for the 2021 winter sessions, term 1 and term 2. Second area you want to pay attention to is the section comments. Make sure you read all the section comments related to your lectures, laboratories, and tutorials. These comments will include information such as if the laboratories and/or tutorials occur every second week, or if the section is for a specific specialization, for example, mechanical engineering. You can also click on a specific course section link to find out more details specifically related to that course section. Once you click on a course section lectures link, it'll take you to a screen that'll look something like this. For example, in this scenario, I would have selected APSC 246, section 101. This page provides more detailed information about the section, such as course description, the term, withdrawal dates, course days and times, seat summary, and laboratory and tutorial section information. You can also save your work list from this page if you would like to register in this course on your registration day. Remember, saving to your work list does not register you in the course. Two important items to remember is that you ensure you add all course components to your work lists, the lecture as well as laboratory and/or tutorial, depending on what the course requires. You can see down here in this particular course, it outlines to also select one tutorial from sections TA1 and so on. When you are creating your work list, please ensure that you do not have any conflicting courses. If you attempt to register in a conflicting course, the system will flag the courses as conflicting and you will be dropped from one of those courses. To ensure that you'll be able to successfully register in all your required courses, review your work list before your registration date and time to ensure there are no conflicts. This is also why we recommend creating backup work lists ahead of time so you can toggle through in the heat of registration. Another way that students can search for courses is through the Browse tab, and then by clicking on courses. Through this method, you will see a page similar to this here. From this page, you can select APSC to view all the applied science courses. Please note that all APSC year level courses will show up on this page. It is important to note that second year students are not able to register in standard timetable or first year courses individually. Tamara will be touching on this at a later slide. As you are working through this process, you can view your work list in a timetable format by selecting the timetable option underneath the registration tab. This will give you a better preview of what your calendar might look like in the upcoming year. On your registration date and time, you can register for all the courses in your work list at once by clicking Register All. Please remember that creating a work list does not register you in your courses. Another great resource during this process is the Help tab. It provides links for quick help, a glossary of terms, as well as course planning for both campuses. I'm now going to toss it over to Tamara to take it from here. Tamara, it's all yours.
Awesome, thanks, Kyle. So I'll be taking on the rest of the presentation slides, and we have a bunch of content to cover. So exactly what Kyle was mentioning before, if I need to take any first year remaining courses, how do I register in them? So like Kyle had mentioned, first year courses are offered in a standard timetable only, so they're locked in. So students aren't able to register for first year courses individually themselves. So if you need help registering for a specific first year course that's outside the standard timetable, you will require assistance from an engineering advisor. So simply email soe.advising@ubc.ca. That's our academic advising email. You'll see it a lot in this presentation for the rest of it. And make sure when you send us an email, it's after your registration date and time, and you'll want to include your name, your student number, and your preferred lecture, lab, or tutorial section. So that part is important just because sometimes students will email us saying, hey, I want to get into AppSci 180, for example, and there's multiple sections. So in order to give yourself the best shot to get into the course you want, make sure you outline which sections you like. Next, so for some of you that are joining us, you're first year students moving into second year. For some other students that are joining us, you're coming into your first year at UBC as a transfer student. So this is a really important question and a really important topic that goes to all of our transfer students. So whether you're a transfer student from a different institution, whether you're coming from a different faculty in UBC, or you're coming from UBC Vancouver, this would apply to you. So if you have transfer credits, they get assessed in two parts. So admissions assesses your credits as soon as you're admitted, and they will apply either a specific or general credit for your transfer credit. So specific credit really means it's going to equal an exact course at UBC that's applied to your Bachelor of Applied Science degree. General credit is basically saying, we recognize this course, there's not a perfect overlap, but it still needs to be assessed. So if you want to look at your transfer credit, you can do so through your SSC. So you do it through your grades and records. Then there's transfer credits tab, and you want to make sure you're selecting UBC Okanagan. And from there, you'll be able to see what you have been applied for a transfer credit and what you might now still need to apply for transfer after. So in order to get that general credit assessed, you need to fill out a transfer credit application form. So it's really important. That link was just provided in the chat. If you are a transfer student and you're still very confused, that's okay. Reach out to SOE.advising. An advisor will look at your file and make sure that you understand what you're receiving transfer credit for and what you're not. And I would recommend, if you are a student that's in this situation, that you do this as soon as possible, just because then you'll have a good idea of what you're receiving credit for before your registration date and time. Next, so this is, again, another question that's really applicable to our transfer students is, how do I register for courses if I have transfer credits? So even though you may have received transfer credits, our system doesn't automatically recognize non-AppSci or ENGR courses. Because of this, year 2 transfer students usually aren't able to register themselves in the following course, second and third year courses that require transfer credit as a prereq. So you might know you've received this transfer credit, you know you have the prereq, but on your registration day, it's saying it doesn't recognize it. That's okay. What we recommend is that you register in all the courses you can possible. And then after your registration date and time, you're going to send an email to SOE.advising with your name, student number, preferred lab and tutorial sections, and we will manually register you. So again, it's not the most beautiful process, but for any transfer students, just know that this is the proper way to get yourself registered in courses. Next hot topic, Humanities Elective. So in second year engineering, students will register themselves in a Humanities Elective. So many arts courses fulfill the Humanities and Social Science elective requirement, with the exception of courses that have focus on technical, scientific components or lab-based, which are technically not usually approved. So you can see there's a little bit of a list on the slide as to what we accept. We have a wonderful link that's been provided in the chat. It's there on the slide that directs you to our webpage that shows all of our approved humanities elective subjects. So you can take a look at that, and students can register in any of the topics that they meet the prerequisites for that are on that approved list. And then of course, they must be able to fit them into their calendar. So not to conflict with any of your AppSci or ENGR courses that you might be registering in. Students on the Okanagan campus only need to do one humanities elective, which is worth 3 credits. And if at some point you are unsure if your humanities elective that you're interested in is applicable, you can always, again, email soe.advising at ubc.ca. So second year placement is the process by which our first year engineering students are placed in discipline-specific engineering programs for the remainder of their Bachelor of Applied Science degree. So students are guaranteed into the program of their choice at the UBC Okanagan campus, which is either civil engineering, electrical, manufacturing, or mechanical engineering. If you haven't selected your specialization yet because you forgot, or you've just been accepted to UBC, that's okay, our form's still open. So you would just want to submit the second year placement form with your specialization choice as soon as possible. That link's been put in the chat as well. And that link is located on our undergraduate academic advising webpage under the course planning tab under second year placement. So third-party authorization, we wanted to make you aware of this, what it is. So students' personal information and records are protected by the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, FIPA. And so UBC has information on file that's only available to you and will only be released with your permission. So if you wish for someone else, like your parents or guardians, to have access to your information, you can adjust this third-party authorization via your SSC. This is not mandatory. This is just something we like to show students in case they have someone checking in on some of their information of their student file. Next, okay, so registration tips. This is kind of why you all came to this session probably. So just so everyone's aware, registration for our second year students will open the week of July 19th. So students will receive their registration date and time on their SSC approximately 2 weeks before the registration date. So we recommend that you set a reminder in your calendar for your registration date and time to ensure that you register to this closest to this date as possible. And like Kyle had mentioned multiple times, it is recommended that students create multiple work lists, as some courses in your work list might fill out before your assigned registration date and time. There are many registration resources available to assist our students. The resources are listed on the slide, will also be sent via email to all second year engineering students. They've also been pasted in the chat today. And I'm sure many of you also have questions regarding the return to campus. So we'd like to refer you to the following web pages for the most up-to-date information.